here for folks like us. Wrong city, wrong people.
And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Aesop Grim here, and this is the continuation of my playthrough of WoW TBC. We're going to jump on Trump Mugshot here initially. We're going to go farm some silk for my mage, and then we're going to wrap the episode up trying to make some tailoring recipes with the mage, break them down into enchanting mats, and use those mats to up level our enchanting. So Trump just got the Coil Fang Needler out of Slave Pens. He is level 64. You can see his stats right here. Why isn't my my guy attacking? Guildies are saying hello. So, yeah, you see my stats. I'm up over 1,000 attack power now, 17.27% crit chance. Things are really kind of just humming right along. 5.5k health points and about almost 3,400 mana. So, I mean, he's developing. He's level 64. I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to get the mage leveled up and enchanting fast enough to take advantage of the huge amounts of, feels like to me, huge amounts of BOE drops that Trump is coming across since he's leveling up in dungeons. But maybe I'll be able to do it for the druid, what the druid gets. I'm not... It's just, I watch those I vendor them, man, and it's just sad. Like, if I had the storage space, I would store them for her to disenchant later, but, it is what it is. So, we are going to go up here to the Scarlet Monastery. We're going to clear, I think, all 3 of the wings and grab every bit of silk that we can. I've actually already done this a couple times. Not all 3 of the wings, but one. I hit one instance, I think it was library, to get the key. And then I hit cathedral and sent all that silk to Halcyon Days, the mage. And now we're going to do all 3. I don't know if I can do it in one run or not because his bag space does fill up. And he carries a lot of stuff around with him as it is. One of my guildies, I just sent him a whole bunch of cloth, like way more than needed. I think I gave him almost 200 netherweave cloth, and so that he can level up his alt in tailoring. And he's going to make me some netherweave bags in exchange as an appreciation for that. So my bag space should be expanding. I should be getting those tonight after he gets home from work. But I'm in no rush, and I'm perfectly content to let him do that in his own time. I don't even know what day this is going to be coming out, guys. I know that I'm at least a week ahead of you. And so if I talk about anything that's going on for me real time right now, this is Friday, the 13th. Oh, wow. Friday the 13th for me. Oh, you know what? There is something for me to talk about. I only watched half the video, though, so I'm not fully up on it. But, man, I did not have on my bingo card Nicki Minaj becoming an actual diehard convert. A lot of these people, they sort of... Well, whenever I say these people, I mean like the entertainment class. They're so busy and I guess maybe their personality types too. Their personalities and their careers require them to be busy out there at social clubs, rubbing elbows, talking with people, making connections, being enchanting and charming. And so they have very full lives, and but they're still people. They got brains, but they're not exposed to a whole lot, right? And so they will sometimes hear somebody that they trust say something, and they kind of buy in fully on that. Usually it's more liberal aimed issues, because that's the kind of people that they tend to be surrounded by. They get real passionate about that, but sometimes every now and again you'll see one that suddenly develops a real big interest in God, and it just never seems to stay for long, right? And the reason is because they were more swayed by a passionate argument in the moment, but it's not theirs. They saw something happen, they had some empathy for it or something like that. It's almost like that biblical verse where, and this doesn't relate just to if somebody went with Christianity. I mean, if somebody decided to start supporting an activist cause like ICE Out or something like that, it lasts for a short term because it's not very well rooted in them. It's not them sitting in their homes looking at things unfold being like, what in the heck is happening? And then trying to piece together for themselves what all's happening, and to spend the time and effort to go get smart about that. Well, that does not appear to be the case with Nicki Minaj, who is originally from Trinidad and moved here when she was 5 years old. I just learned this. So she comes from an immigrant perspective, a literal immigrant, and she's really thankful because, from what I understand, her and her family didn't grow up well-to-do at all. I don't know this for sure, but I'm under the impression she grew up poor. And, you know, she's got a backstory and things have happened, and she did certain stuff in her youth trying to adjust and make her way in a cutthroat world, right? But at some point in time, I think she had a kid, and she started looking at what sort of like the woke world was leading to. I think I recall her being pretty... I don't know if I want to say grossed out, but I can't think of another word, guys. Maybe alarmed at the transsexual thing. I know that I saw a little short TikTok video of her. Now I don't go look this up myself. My exposure to Nicki Minaj has come through people I listen to that have talk shows that are discussing things like culture, and they'll embed her TikToks as an example of, look, even somebody on the left is saying that the left has gone too far. You know, somebody liberal. I don't want to conflate her with being a lefty. She was a liberal. Well, now she's a Republican. And oh, to finish that thought, I'm pretty sure I saw a TikTok video of her where she was talking about being concerned about what environment her kid was being raised into, and sort of the absolute insanity of the modern activist left and its ideologies. So apparently, so see, that right there, I think gives you your motivation. Her kid. This got very real for her, and that woman sat down. I imagine she must have done something akin to this. She sat down in her mansion and took time away from her music career, her passions, and really did some soul searching on this stuff. Because she doesn't just say, this is what I'm against and this is what I'm for now. She's very pro-Trump right now. she put her entire career and reputation on the line over it. This could have gone very, very badly against her, but she don't care. She's made her money. I think that she finds other things more important, and who knows, she may have always been the type of woman that's like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You could like it or you could walk away angry. I don't know. I don't know her, you know, I can't say, but I know that she must have sat down and really, really thought this stuff through, because she speaks like somebody who has well-founded, well-thought-out reasons for why she believes what she does. And she is completely flipped. She has spoken on behalf of President Trump a number of times already, but now you're starting to see her at like official functions, and her whole fan base is flipping also to, or let's not say her whole fan base, but a number of young women in her fan base are also switching with her to Republican, because they're listening to Nikki talk about why she believes what she believes, what she sees going on, why she finds that to be a dire issue, and where civilization is going as a result of all that. Now, I may have put a little bit of words in her mouth. I'm not really too sure of how deep Nikki is going. Is she actually thinking in terms of like how this is affecting all of civilization? She very well could just be thinking in terms of her own interests. That would be the first level of thinking, right? But typically, whenever you start seeing an existential threat to you through society, you also start to notice how it affects larger groups of people, and then you begin actually to see, I'm not trying to sound conspiratorial, but you start to see patterns, and you start to see nefarious intent, and you start to be able, the more information you gather, the more that you can reasonably guess as to what these people's overall game plan is. At least to some degree. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to do that. You just got to be a human being. So anyway, I just think that we live in such an incredible time right now where we have really distilled an awful lot of arguments down to their most baseline positions. And when you do that, what it does, guys, is it declutters. It declutters the argument. It gets rid. It takes a long time. We've spent decades to get to this point. It gets rid of all of the gray areas until things are very, very black and white, cut and dry, clear. And it makes it easier for people to pick. Now, indoctrination gets in there. These people that are out here following ICE around, I just saw a video where a woman was following ICE around. They got out to talk to her. She wasn't doing anything illegal, and she knows it. She kind of throws it in their face a little bit. And one of the so she's talking with a white ICE agent, and they're discussing this, and she's kind of throwing it in his face about, that's my real address. I'm not doing anything illegal. Yes, I am going to continue to follow you. And another ICE agent comes back, a younger guy, and he's clearly Hispanic. And he tells her, you know that the guy that we were going after was a child rapist, right? And she says that she doesn't care. And he says, plus we just found out that we've got proof that he murdered somebody. Like, who stands in the way of that? And she called him a race traitor. The other guy says, you as a white woman realize that you just said one of the most racist things you could say. And she says, yeah, I don't care because you guys don't care. You're going after people that haven't committed any crimes. You were just talking to a woman over there, and the white guy cuts her off and says, yeah, that was his wife. Yeah, we were talking to her. And so what I want to say is that these people that are following ICE around, they're not evil. I don't think the vast majority of them evil. What they are is they are indoctrinated. So even though we're in an age where things have become very easy to see compared to previous decades, very clear cut, indoctrination overwrites that. So if you can keep that in mind, it leaves room for whenever somebody breaks through the indoctrination, like Nicki Minaj, and start seeing things for how they are. And man, I'm just kind of excited about that. Now, to me, what I just got done talking about here, it's not political. But in our day and age, almost everything has been politicized because it really is a culture war. But that's, to me, I'm talking about our culture and the varying choices that we have to make, the fork in the road nature of it. And we are seeing so many people ditch the leftist view of things. That's what ends up making it political. It's because the left, and this happened a long time ago, their strategy, because they did not have, let's see, this is what I think happened. In democracy, and I realize that we're a constitutional republic, guys, but we have some democratic mechanics. So in order to use a word that everybody gets and understands, in democracy, things are more or less revolving around a popularity contest. And I think Plato summed it up well. I said this in another video before. He kind of charted out the best and worst forms of government. And the way that he did this, it ends up looking kind of like a haiku, if you're familiar with how a haiku works. It starts out that the best form of government is, in his words, remember he's writing centuries ago, one good man. Then it moves to a group of good men. After that, it's in the middle, it says a government that is run by the people, the population. I keep forgetting to feed my pet. Let's take care of that. And then the second to worst option is a group of evil men. And then the absolute worst position that you can be in, the worst form of government, is one evil man. And so Plato, I think it was Plato, I do tend to get him and Socrates mixed up a lot, concluded that because kingdoms and kings and regimes change over time, your safest bet is to go with that middle option. A group, a government ruled by the people. Because everything else, you're going to be rolling the dice depending on if that ruler is good or evil, or that group of rulers, if you have an aristocracy. Well, so that's kind of what we settled on. He wrote a book called The Republic. talked about some things in there related to this kind of stuff. And we, of course, patterned after that. So because our way of government is based off of a system that, in essence, boils down to a popularity contest so that you can get the votes, and because the left, years and years and years and years and years ago, were not the majority, that put them into a position, by definition, of being kind of the, what do you call that? The revolutionaries. And in the position of get this guy right here. I'll finish my thought here in just a moment. The position of having to subvert. That's the word I was trying to think of. So when you're in a position of having to subvert, you don't do that through the legal system. You're not in power there. You try to, you have to start with the culture. You have to gain popularity. Now the 60s is when we saw this really move with some strong weight in the direction of things that were antithetical to traditional American values and Americanism, I would say, like our way of how we saw the world and our way of government. It became more and more and more a pro-communist view. People will try, they will work so hard to tell you the differences between socialism and communism, but Lenin said socialism is just the first step towards communism. It's all the same thing. It's like an inevitability. And you watch, the moment that communism becomes popular enough, these people will all change their rhetoric. Because they're either lying or they're stupidly and ignorantly parroting lies. It is about communism. There's so many of them out there that don't know that. And they all think that they're big brains. I think that's a result of communism coming mostly out of the world of academia, and so it puts arguments together like academics, which is going to necessarily rely on a certain kind of intellectualism. Well, not all these people are intellectual. They just learn how to parrot certain ideas, but they don't have any real depth of understanding. So they get out of their depth in a hurry. Oh, keep this active. So anyway, if you're going to subvert, you have to start at the population level first. You have to get people dissenting. So this train of thought that I'm on right now, this is explaining why I don't think that what I'm talking about when it comes to Nicki Minaj is actually political. It's just that because of how the left works, where they force a polarity and a division, everything has become political. If you go watch the final days of Sophie Scholl, you'll see the same thing. That happens in fascistic Nazi Germany. Both of these systems are socialist. Both of them, communism and fascism. Both of them are based on state-run authoritarianism. Both of them commit atrocities against their own population. They really are like two siblings. They're like a sibling rivalry. Where fascism is more nationalistic and communism is more global. And so, as they work to take the culture, they try very hard to grab people who are popular within the culture. That means music artists, Hollywood actors, people that can peddle in the realm of influence and can get their followers to do the same. So Nicki Minaj flipping is really unacceptable to them. Somewhere in the back rooms of people who run all this stuff, there's a group of people that recognize this is very, very bad. And I don't know if I would use the term freaked out, but they're not happy about this because it really hits them exactly where...
Run.
Let's see if this hits me. It did not. Oh, okay. I've already got that key. Alright, well, how much soap did I get? On that run, I got 20, 40, and then another 16 here. Okay. Now you can see I'm almost full. Right, so we're gonna have to go sell. I need to turn my space heater off. That sucker got really warm. It works so well. That was a birthday gift to me from my aunt years ago, and it's been one of the most useful things to me over the years. So whenever you're talking about the culture war, that's why it's political. Is because the political left uses the culture to subvert. And they as part of their strategy. Remember, this is over a century old. This is nothing new. We know their playbook extremely well. This has been around a long time. It's an actual methodology. And so they tend to make everything political. And they start that at the cultural level. So I've said it a few times now, and I'm kind of repeating myself. But hopefully I have kind of, and I know it took a long time because I was fighting also, but I've kind of painted the picture on why things that should really just be culturally related are now also tied to politics. This has been happening for a really long time. It's been present for a really long time, but it's kind of like cancer. Cancer can be in your body for a real long time. But it's not until you get to a certain stage of cancer that it kind of metastasizes and starts causing problems that you have to go get treatment for. And then eventually it becomes a life or death fight. And you got to go through radical treatments like chemo. Well, that's what the left is. The left is a cancer. It has been here for a really long time, embedded in the culture, purposely trying to subvert and create basically civil war-like conflicts. It doesn't have to be a hot war. It could be a war of ideologies. But it is absolutely antithetical to American values. It always has been. And it seeks to subvert, overtake, and steal what is ours. And that inevitably makes it to where even when you're talking about something that shouldn't be related to politics, like the passing of a bill or the merits of a certain piece of legislation, it makes it political nonetheless, and even more so at some point in time, and I think that we are in this, it makes it warfare. It is warfare. You know, one of the things that the left does really, really well, nobody is their equal in this, is they're able to use rhetoric to capture concepts and ideals. Now, they twist it, they pervert it, but they're really good, and there's projection tied into this also. They're really good at taking what they themselves are actually actively in the act of destroying and painting it as though they are defending it. And so one of the things that captures what I'm talking about here was actually a phrase that was mentioned by Joe Biden in the 2020 stolen election and the campaign leading up to it. He said that we are in a battle for the nation's soul. And he's right. But make no mistake, the left doesn't give a rip about the nation's soul. It wants to kill the nation's soul and take it over, and then build it back up in their image. It sees the nation's soul as racist, misogynistic, and bigoted. Now, the people who actually put all that stuff into place, they know that that's not true. They knew that. They knew it wasn't true. They were just using rhetoric that would prey upon the passions of Americans who are about truth and justice. And this all happened well before you and I were born. Pines when equipped, we will send that to Halcyon Days. So to wrap it up then, I was just, those are the reasons why I'm quite happy to see, you know what, it doesn't even have to be political for me. I get happy in general. I get excited whenever I see someone that I'm not expecting to exhibit any real deep thought. Not because they're stupid, but because their lives are constructed in such a way that they don't have the time, the need, or the inclination to do so. Whenever I see someone like that sit down and express a thought clearly, concisely, and with nuance, to be able to explain why he or she feels the way they do and kind of unpack it a little bit, that to me is like team humanity stuff. I get really excited for people to see, like, hey man, that's awesome, I'm happy for you. Alright, so this is another really close to 60 cloth plus some BOEs. This is all gonna help quite a lot. So that was just, I woke up today and saw a video on that. Again, I've only watched half of it. But that was a really feel-good moment for me to see that people in Nicki Minaj's circumstances, her background, being a minority also lends itself to this because the minorities are some of the most sought after and heavily targeted people in leftist movements, because it's about the marginalized and oppressed, right? That's what Marxism revolves around. The lifting up of the oppressed and the complete annihilation of the oppressor. So to see somebody with that list of checkboxes going against her lifestyle, the fact that she's got more money than she knows what to do with. You know, they say mother is, or need is the mother of all invention. She doesn't have need. Not in a material way. Right? So there's a lot of ways that she could have missed this. And instead, she had some kind of an experience that opened her eyes to something she couldn't look away from. And she devoted intellectual energy. Her brains, man, boy, I'm going to say something that's going to sound really silly here, but to me, that's sexy. Like, I'm not somebody who's ever in my life looked at Nicki Minaj and been like, boy, I'd like to hit that. I can tell that she's pretty, but it's just never crossed. She's not my style. She's in a different genre of stuff. You know, now people are not their genres. If I got to know her individually, who knows what happens, right? But that's not the case. It's not going to be the case. It's not in the realm of reality, right? So we're discussing the just normal stuff that would happen, and she just doesn't fit my stereotypical type of woman that I'm like kind of like, wow, man, that's really attractive. I wonder what she'd be like to get to know. That's kind of how I tend to think. I don't really tend to think in terms of what does she look like naked. Everything for me runs through personality first, and then things branch off from there. I don't know if other people are like that or not. It doesn't really seem like it to me, but who knows? So anyway, all I'm trying to say is that the fact that that woman used her brains and then was had the smarts to put things together, makes her more appealing looking in my eyes as a man, right? I would imagine the same thing happens with women. I've always heard that intelligence is the sexiest trait, right? So anyway, it really kind of just, I guess what I'm trying to point out here, I'm not trying to be creepy at all. I'm trying to say that beauty really does come from the inside. And how you appear to somebody has a lot more to do with who you are than how you look. How you look is a part of it, but it's more like how you look is amplified by who you are. So I thought that was a heartwarming thing to find out about today. And then to find out that a lot of her fans are switching with her because she's making the case and explaining herself. I don't think she's out there trying to convert anybody. She's more just venting, I think. That's what would be normal to me. Whenever you're just stunned and shocked on what you've learned, and it's like, holy smokes, this is you want to talk to people about that and find, really, I think what's going on is you're trying to do a sanity check. Am I crazy here? Do you have another take? Or do you agree? And you'll listen to somebody who maybe has a different view, and you'll think that over, and then you reach the conclusion, no, I don't agree with you. That did not convince me, you know? And then you find other people who are more like agreeing with you, and they're saying it in their own ways for the examples that they have in their life, and that reinforces your position, you know? In WoW SOD, I would come in here with my paladin tank, and I would tank this stuff to level his enchanting up to get the silk. Wait, not the silk. What was I doing with the silk? I think I was giving that to the guild bank, but to mostly disenchant all the stuff that dropped and level his skill up. Oh, wrong guy. So my two-handed axe skill is increasing even off lobies. That's good to see. Might need that in the future if I plan on trying to learn melee weaving. I don't know if I am or not. Right now, I just need to learn the basic rotation, and I'll be honest, that shiznit, for whatever reason, it's still kind of a mystery to me. I feel like I'm at my best when I'm just spamming my steady shot key. And I know I'm supposed to wait for the auto shot, but I don't know if maybe my haste rating is keeping... I mean, that's pretty quick right there, 1.85. Oh, a normal 2.13. It's 1.85 whenever I get the quick shots buff. But I think maybe I'm at a 1-to-1 ratio. It's kinda hard for me to tell. We'll see if we can do an example here. Let's collect first. Okay. We'll target this guy. So, regular shot, steady shot. Regular shot, regular steady. Oh, see, I didn't have time. And at some point in time, before it reaches the red line, I'm supposed to have a filler where I can cast multi-shot. Probably what I need to do is go find an target dummy and practice. Maybe grab one of the hunters in my guild, or somebody who's played hunter. There's a priest in my guild, a healer. That's what she almost always plays, but she's a very good hunter also. She's played that in the past, so she knows a lot about it. And the really big thing about her is that she's got, in my opinion, natural teaching skills. Knowledge is kind of useless when it comes to passing the torch if you can't communicate it. Maybe one of these days we'll be able to take our teaching profession back. That's why I was such a big fan of getting rid of the Department of Education and opening up school choice. Is because there are plenty of people who have the talent. But right now, our professional teaching class is infiltrated by activists. And activists have no desire whatsoever in teaching people how to think. They want to teach them what to think. In some subjects, you do need to be taught what to think. Math is one of those things. There's a right way to do it, there's a wrong way. There's one right way to do it, and every other way is wrong. No, well, that's not... I might give the wrong impression there. The fact that 2 plus 2 equals 4 is the only acceptable truth. So you're not teaching people how to figure that out. You're teaching them that it's a fact. Right, that's what I mean. Now, when it comes to doing long division, there's a couple different ways that you can do that. Depends on what methodology you were taught. But the way that division works does not change. This will be a lengthy episode, it looks like, because we still have another place to clear, and then we got to get on the mage. Nice. Those guys actually had some resilience to them. Whoops, that was a mistake. I'm kind of excited to see how much I can level up enchanting. I have a feeling I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed. It just doesn't seem to be like one of those things that is going very fast for me. And I'm following guides and stuff. But just, man, if you gotta source the materials yourself, it's kind of a grind. I've got Aspect of the Viper on, so getting some mana back over time. Oh yeah, I don't know if I saw this correctly or not. But it looks like, well, first of all, the part that I know happened is that the SAVE Act passed the House. So for those of you who don't know, the SAVE Act is the act that is looking to get voter ID required to vote in American elections. This is a issue that polling shows, like multiple polls, that there's an 85% of the American electorate want this. In order to get 85%, you're obviously not being drawn across party lines. This is one of the very few issues that we have in our current climate that both liberals and conservatives agree wholeheartedly, and independents and libertarians. That's an incredible number, 85% of the electorate. And of course, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's one of the most... Why do we even have to effing make a rule about this kind of things, you know? It's actually more alarming that we have to pass a law about this. And then we find out that despite it being an 85% approved thing within the populations, our representatives who are legally bound to represent our population and their constituents are fighting tooth and toenail against it. On both sides. More so on the left. The left is uniformly, in the political class, the left is uniformly against it. To me, that tells you everything that you need to know about the left. If you're an American and you're extremely, extremely liberal, looking at their attitude on the SAVE Act and the fact that they don't want voter ID, looking at how much they keep trying to open up voting and make it easier and easier and easier, should tell you everything you need to know about what they think about you. They don't think about you at all. You're a useful idiot to them. They want power. They want to use you for power. Alright, we are now going to put him on aggressive. Oh, what was it? Alright, take him off of aggressive, back to defensive. One of the failing things of our civilization over the years has been lefties' inability to prohibit themselves from getting got. Like, they are the most hustleable people on the planet. It seems like to me. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know what the last issue was that we had that achieved that kind of popularity. And boy, they tried to lock that out. Like when I say they, I mean like the Uniparty. But again, it was 100% of the Democrat House, I believe. If it's not 100%, it's damn close. And then it was several rhinos as well, or people that have shown themselves to be rhinos. I was really surprised at Rand Paul and Thomas Massey, for example. I'm starting to really severely not trust those guys. So it passed Congress, and from what I hear today, Susan Collins, who is a rhino and kind of a thorn in our side, I think that she represents Maine, finally agreed to it. What's important about that is that she's not a congresswoman, she's a senator. So that, along with J.D. Vance's tie-breaking vote, gives us 51 votes in the Senate. And it's looking like the SAVE Act is going to become law. Now, I don't think that this happened because people suddenly changed their minds and decided to support their constituents. I suspect this happened because from what I'm hearing, President Trump said he would sign an executive order that required it for the 2026 midterms and force the Democrats to fight it through the courts, which would then really get the arguments out there. You would have to defend. You can't just use rhetoric. Right now they're using rhetoric. The SAVE Act is racist and misogynistic. They are effectively saying that minorities are too stupid to figure out how to get an ID, and that women, modern women, are dumber than 1950s women. Which, if you have any understanding of feminism at all, you know how much of an affront that would be to a modern feminist. They hold up 1950s era women as the bane of womanhood that they want to get away from. They see them at all as being airheaded little princesses, right? And yet they all seem to be able to figure out how to get their name changed back then, whenever they got married, and be able to vote. So it's just wild to watch what the left supports as they watch their own party savagely denigrate them. And I don't want to say they're too stupid. I really don't think that most people are stupid, but they can't see it. They can't see, like, they really do just buy the rhetoric. It's so simple. You just tell them something. Give them any line of bullshit that you want. As long as it's what they want to hear, they're like, that's my guy. I'll vote for you. I mean, it's crazy. It's really fascinating to me. It's why I get so excited about someone like Nicki Minaj, because I see this especially prevalent in the female demographic. Gosh, man, you just say the right thing in the right way to a female, and she's all for it. It seems like with a lot of women. I'm not someone who thinks that women are dumb. I don't even think that they're naive. That would be the next. That would be, like, to me, that would be a fairly. You could say that. Like, the men and women can say that about each other from different perspectives. Women can look at how effective doing something as silly as a belly dance or a lap dance is on manipulating a man and be like, you are such simple creatures. You're so naive, right? Or tears. How effective tears are. And getting a man to completely abandon his intellect and just support her in whatever she's asking for. We have words for it. We call them simps. Things like that. So, naivety can be found in both genders depending on what context you're talking about. But I don't even think that of women in this political context. I think they're just prone to it. I think somebody clever out there found out how to speak to women in a way that appeals to them very strongly, to their emotions, and that kind of short circuits their ability to critically think about it because it emotionally appeals to them. That's extremely manipulative and evil, in my opinion. And so I get super happy when I see someone like Nicki Minaj just break through that and be like, hold on. So what you're saying is... So, Trump threatened to sign an executive order mandating it and forcing the left to argue it in court, which gets rid of their brain-dead rhetoric that is meant to emotionally exploit people and puts it into the realm of actual legal argument and debate, which they don't want to do. And I just kind of have the feeling that swayed enough people on the right, who would also be caught up in that, to go ahead and acquiesce. That's what I think happened. Not that we got a win with these people who were absolutely willing to sell their constituents down the river, but that we forced it through Trump's really kind of genius political maneuvering. So we'll see. It hasn't passed yet, not to my knowledge. They're just indicating that they have the votes. But that's a real big deal. That case in Georgia is proving that illegals do vote. That election fraud does happen. And that it happened on a very wide scale, enabled by Dominion machines, or machines that had Softmatic software on it, to steal the 2020 election. That's the next big thing that's coming up. It's huge. It's huge. This is all stuff that I've known almost from day one, guys. We've known about this stuff ever since November 5th, 2020, or very shortly thereafter. like the first couple of months. We uncovered so much fraud, and we had detailed explanations about how the machines were compromised, how little security they had, how much was done by people who had access to them to reconfigure them after they were certified. The fact that they were able to connect to the internet through Wi-Fi connections, but that those systems were turned off. Why the hell are those systems present in the first place? Why are those options there? We even had an example, I think it was in Arizona, of finding a Wi-Fi server up in the tiles of the room that the machines were in. A Wi-Fi server that they were connected to. We now are seeing evidence, and we saw evidence in the past. Everything being repeated right now has already been known. When Trump said we caught them red-handed, we caught them all, he wasn't lying. We have all of the evidence. We just couldn't get courts to grant standing because people were terrified for their lives. That governor of Georgia, his daughter's boyfriend got murdered, got assassinated. I'm telling you, that was an assassination. They tried to pass it off as a traffic accident, but they showed us the footage. Look, I've been to Iraq. For a traffic accident, using air quotes, it was awfully weird that only one vehicle was a charred skeletal remain with a pillar of black smoke streaming up from the engine. That's a targeted hit, dumbasses. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no experience to get you outside of the bubble of the bullshit rhetoric that they feed you. There was a judge that was, I don't remember what the case was that she was weighing in on, but I think it had something to do with election stuff, even if it was tangentially connected, that a UPS driver arrived at her home in New Jersey and shot her husband and 2 kids. I think her husband survived. I think her 2 kids died. That's a message. It wasn't a rando psycho crazy, you idiots. 2020 is filthy, filthy, filthy dirty. Joe Biden didn't have a dementia moment and slip of the tongue when he said we've put together the most diverse, largest fraud organization in history. That was him letting the cat out the bag. Oh my gosh, how do you hold a country together with people this stupid? I did use the stupid word there. I really want to double down on it. I don't think people are stupid in general. I think you're dealing with 2 things. One is indoctrination, which can take an otherwise smart person and completely make them effectively stupid in a very targeted area. And the other is, I think people want to believe what they want to believe. So they become easier to convince if you're talking to them about something that they want to believe. And in this country, I can remember being in college, guys, after I went to the Air Force, after I completed my career. So I'm in college. I'm 40 years old, right? I'm what they call an elder student. And I actually seriously considered switching my degree to psychology. And the reason is because I went to college in Virginia. So I was in Central Virginia. I'm very close, obviously, to Northern Virginia, and Northern Virginia is where all of the people that work in the DC Beltway live, because the taxes are less expensive. And they just cross the river and go to into Maryland and go to work in DC. It's like an hour commute for them, or maybe 2 hours. I can't remember which. I think it's just an hour. And so I started hearing about Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. This was when Trump was... I think TDS started popping up when just after Trump was actually elected. Not before. But I could be wrong. It could be that it was during the campaign season. And when I first heard about that, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, that sounds bizarre. Like, why would people be suffering actual legitimate psychological illness because they're that terrified of a politician? To me, like, I couldn't stand Obama. I think Obama's the worst president in our nation's entire history. That's a pretty big statement, right? I might be wrong on that. Like, if you were to actually start going fact by fact, I might be wrong on that. But my impression is that that dude is the worst that we've ever had. And that didn't put me anywhere near to having a mental breakdown. So I thought it was a joke at first. But the more that it kept coming out, and DC was the genesis point for that. It was the unelected bureaucracy that was freaking out over this. And the more that went on, the more I started realizing, holy smokes, this is actually true. You know, because the next thing was I just thought, well, people are just being extra. This is the drama kids doing what drama kids do. It's just for attention. I thought maybe that was the real issue at play. Not that they were actually terrified of Trump, but that they were looking for a pretext in order to just act the fool and have somebody caretake them. But the more it went on, the longer it lasted, the more it spread as it started to get outside the DC area and leach its way up the East Coast and then into the interior, and I think the West Coast was first, the coastal areas. The Pacific Northwest fell into it pretty hard. They might have been next. And then it worked its way into the interior of the country. The more that I started understanding, this is real. And I thought, holy smokes, that's a really, really easy way to make money. To just sit there and listen to somebody expound on their baseless fear-mongering, try and talk them through something that they're not going to get out of, because at the end of the day, they just want to be terrified like that. And to pretend like they are the resistance that will destroy this so that they have some sort of meaning to their insignificant lives. That was sort of my impression. I could make a ton of money just simply sitting there, nodding my head, taking notes, and placating people. And then I pretty much immediately was like, man, I can't do that. That's... what would you call that? That's capitalizing on other people's pain. So we'll see how the SAVE Act does. Until it's across the board and passed, I don't trust anything. These people are constantly working in the background. You don't know what nefarious funders might be, what kind of shenanigans they're up to. So we'll have to see. I tell you, one person I was really stunned by is John Fetterman. I was stunned that that dude won. He seemed like he was retarded to me. Like, legitimately so. They were saying that it was just the stroke he was recovering from, but I didn't really believe that. I thought that was part of it. But I also thought that that dude was just a fruitcake, man. Just nutty. Right? And the guy that he beat was a really, really good MAGA candidate. I can't remember his name, but he's former military. He's a former military officer. Pretty high up there. I think he was a full bird colonel, which is one rank shy of a general, a 1-star general, brigadier general. And Fetterman won. And you could see him saying crazy stuff at his speeches, and then the Dems there clapping like seals, knowing that he just made a gaffe, right? But these are the same people that voted for Biden, so no surprise, right? And then Fetterman, like, gets better over the years. And it turns out the dude's about as libertarian as it gets. He's the kind of Democrat that I can get along with. He's like a center-left Democrat that believes in putting the American people first. He just comes at it from more of a liberal perspective. Well, that's not a Marxist, that's an American. I can disagree with him on a few issues and be like, overall, dude's pretty okay, you know. He's kind of turned into a bit of a secret weapon for the Republicans, not because he's voting in a conservative manner, but because he will not align himself with the radical left, which is what the Democratic Party has become. If they would come back to center more, then he'd vote with them. This is called the Overton window. It has consistently shifted left over the decades for a long time, so that what was once considered liberal is now considered conservative. As the left drifts further and further, I'm telling you, ultimately towards communism. That's what these people are. You take a look at Antifa's operating manual, and yes, there is one, and you will see real quick that they are not anti-authoritarian. They're very pro-authoritarian. They just believe that the circumstances warrant it. And it's really weird because they're communists, but they have a lot of anarchists in their group. So the anarchists who don't want any government have sided with the group of people that want authoritarianism. You would think that the anarchist would lean more towards a libertarian perspective of as little government as possible, but no. That does not appear to be the case. Which is why I think a lot of these people don't really even know what they're talking about. They just say stuff. next week, Steve Turley should be back in the studio, and we'll be able to do a video where we just listen. He typically releases 3 to, well, I would say 2 to 4 videos, but more often it's 3 to 4 videos a day. So we should be able to go over all of those, get you a real good idea of what he sounds like. It's the only time I'm going to do that, because I believe that people should go to his channel for him to get the views. Darn it, that didn't work well at all. Alright, well, at least we cleared out a bunch of them. It would be nice if I had a pet leveled that did good AoE aggro, like an owl or a bat. But it's very, very doable with a level 64 Ravager. I used to come in with my Paladin and SOD, post up right there, shoot the boss. I couldn't draw the whole instance, but if I cleared the entire instance and just left this building, I could take everybody in here and live through all of that and drop both bosses. I had my mic muted, so obviously we are running out of room. Another BOE. That Halcyon can disenchant. Alrighty then. Let's get rid of this. I'll use this. Get rid of this. And that should leave me enough room to loot these bosses. Alright, here we go. Auto. Auto shot. Steady. Auto. Steady. And now... What? Everything dies. You had no hope. Is there anything back here for me to get? I seem to remember there being something. The first time that you cleared a place. And I cleared this place once before, but I didn't come back and click anything. That might have been an SOD thing. Yeah, because I don't see anything. Okay. Nothing on the walls, no paintings. Okay. Alright guys, well, we're going to head back to town. We're going to mail Halcyon all of these BOEs and silk, and then we're going to hop over on Halcyon, disenchant all of the BOEs, make a bunch of silk bolts, and craft some gear that I can then disenchant. By the way, I am really liking how my character looks here. Look at this. This is what in the military we call subdued when it comes to the colors. See how everything's kind of desaturated? Man, he looks fantastic. Now the yellow doesn't really match great. It would be nice if it was this bronze color. But this little black area on his arms here, his cloak especially, and the nature of his pauldrons, kind of that unburnished iron sort of look, really looks fantastic, I think. And then he's got silver hair. I'm digging it. And there we go. Let's vendor first. Just makes it easier to find the stuff that I want to mail. Okay, soulbound, soulbound. Peon sleep potion. Oh, I did reorganize my bag. This is for a quest, I believe. I don't need this. And I don't need these. Soulbound. BOE, right? Yeah. BOE, BOE. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sell the Mage Weave also. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 127 silk in that run, in addition to everything I've already sent her. So she probably actually has more silk than what she needs. Let's send her BOEs first. Oh, that one's soulbound. Missed one. She might even be able to use some of that stuff. And then send her the silk. Okay, go into the inn, log out, and get on to Halcyon. This is the whole point of the entire episode. I am going to put you on pause for a moment while I go use the restroom, and then whenever I come back for you, it'll be seamless. We will proceed with, hopefully, leveling and chanting for Halcyon Days. Alright, stand by for me. Alright, we are back. I am 5 pounds lighter. Feeling good. Let's go get all of them goodies. Okay, you can see I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 41 bolts of silk cloth already. We will disenchant. Oh, wait. What do I have here that I can... That is an upgrade. Not an upgrade. Not my stuff. Here we go. What is this? Shoulders, 34 armor. Intellect and spirit. That is an upgrade. I'll take it. Cloth. That's an upgrade for sure because it's actually got stats on it. 12 intellect, 5 spirit. You know what? I'm not going to. I would rather disenchant it. I think I'll eventually be able to make a cloth helmet that would be better than spirit. 7 intellect ring. Oh man, I think I want to equip that. 3 stamina, 3 intellect, 3 intellect, and spell crit. You know what? I think I'm going to keep the stamina and intellect and replace the spell crit. Because my talents are going to be building that up anyway, and low level, I just don't think it matters that much. This wand, 28.8, is in fact better. No stats. Alright. I just got rid of one of the coolest wands I have ever seen in this game. We'll see what the Scorching Wand looks like. I'm sure it does fire damage. It does. This is nature damage, but man, it looked cool. Okay. Disenchant. Disenchant. Oh, look, we got stuff over here. Leather, mail, and a shield. And I already have a shield to do enchants on, so I can disenchant this one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. now we pop open tailoring, scroll all the way down, and it looks like we can make 46 bolts of cloth. 46 bolts of cloth. That's going to give me somewhere around 90 bolts of cloth total to make stuff with that I can disenchant further. I'll put you on pause while she makes all these bolts. Okay. Here we are at the tailoring area. We have about 87 bolts of silk cloth. So let's open up tailoring, and it looks like I'm going to want to make probably silk vests. All of it needs blue dye. Is there anything that just requires thread? Do I have anything that I can learn? No. I do not. Okay, so I gotta work with what I've got here. We could make small silk pack. Well, that requires leather. Okay, fine. 2 bolts of silk cloth and spider silk. I do have 2... Oh, it's thick spider silk, so that won't work. Alright, blue dye it is. 4... Oh, there we go. No. It doesn't have stat. It's not green. So we're gonna go with this one. I'm gonna make 5 of these. So I need 10 blue dye.
Loktar.
Why is it that I can... Does this not require thread? Oh, it doesn't. Okay. 5 times 3 is 15, so 15 fine thread. And we will create all. Okay. And that got me to 167. Did we learn anything new?
Blood and thunder.
No, the next thing is going to be a level 170. Okay.
Victory.
What is this going to disenchant into? Soul dust. Okay. Let's see, I'm going to leave trade chat. You can't really see this, but that will help me track what's changing for me a little bit easier, because trade chat is scrolling pretty quickly. I'm gonna try and make some more of these, I think. Well, no. I think now it's time to go ahead and move to Azure Silk Vest to make sure. I want to get to 170, right? So that's what, 3? Yeah, 3. Okay, so 3 times 4 is 12.
Speak, friend.
Okay, that got me to 170. Is this better than what I got on? No, it's the same as what I'm wearing. Okay. Disenchant into what? Greater Astral Essence. So I'm not sure if I'm getting the materials I need. We'll find that out the hard way, I guess. Earthen Vest is going to require Elemental Earth. Azure Silk Belt. Elemental Water. Man. We're starting to get into Mage Weave. Okay, well, we're going to make some more vests then. I'm going to finish it up on these vests. So I've got 5 goes into 52 how many times? 5 goes into 50 10 times. 10 times 4, so I need 40 blue dye.
Raw.
Okay, and that brought me to skill 178 on tailoring. Elemental Earth, Iron Buckle plus Elemental Water. None of these recipes are inexpensive or easy. I'm getting a lot of soul dust and greater astral essence. Okay, we're ready to now do the enchanting part. Yeah, see, that's what I was worried about, man. I can only do one minor stamina to shield. No, that's to boots. Where's my shield? Lesser astral essence. Okay, so I have greater astral essence. What if I right-clicked that? I'm supposed to take this to skill 130. I'm at 126. So let's break down one more. That, because it's orange, that should push me to 127 guaranteed. It did. 128 guaranteed. $129 guaranteed. $130 guaranteed. And 131 really good chance. Yes, I got it. Okay, I need to find the enchanting trainer. What am I doing next? Enchant bracer, lesser stamina. Will take me from 130 to 150 and requires only soul dust. I forget where the enchanting trainer is, so I have to ask. This person right here should be able to tell me. Profession. Enchanting. Okay. Up here. It might be in the cleft. Cleft of Shadow, I think is what it's called. Arboretum. Herbalism. So maybe enchanting is down below. Yes.
For the Horde.
Okay, well, it says I can make 35 of these. I'm supposed to only take it to 150, though. So I'll just enchant my own bracers here. So I was at 126. I want to try and keep that in mind so that I see how much I improved. I'm going to take this until it's yellow. Because it's really cheap. I'm at 136. It says to take it to 150. The guide that I'm following. at 140. This will be 141, and we're still orange. Okay. 5 more to go. Okay, now that's where I'm supposed to go to, but we're still orange. Thing that I want to do, though, is make sure I can make the golden rod, which is next. Runed golden rod requires 1 silvered runed silver rod, 2 soul dust. See, that's why I wanted to make sure. I gotta have the mats for this. I need an iridescent pearl and a golden rod, so we're gonna go purchase those from the AH. Iridescent pearl and golden rod. Oh, that didn't really work for me. Not as far as I could tell. Okay. Iridescent pearl. I think I probably spelled iridescent wrong. So, let's take another look at that. Oh, it's 1 R. And then descent. Okay. Eerie. Descent. Pearl. Let's make sure I'm sorted by buyout. I am. 17, about 18 silver. Golden rod. 1 gold. Come on. Okay. It says bid accepted. I don't know if I got that golden rod or not. I thought that it had a buyout on it. It might have just had a bid. Bids. Okay, I don't have any bids, evidently. Canceling. No, I don't. Okay, you won an auction for goldenrod. I guess the other goldenrod had been bought and was not available. This sends me to 151. Oh, it takes a while. Okay, while that's working, I'm going to let this video move forward to see what comes next. $151 to $160, enchant bracer, lesser stamina. Okay, good. So that's what I was doing before. And that's what I was about to continue doing because it's really cheap. And we're supposed to take this to 160. I keep wanting to click my staff for some reason. That's 154. $155. Whoops. We're yellow now. Okay, that sent me to 156. Keep your fingers crossed here because it starts to become a bit of a roll of the dice the further we go on. We got 157. $158. $159. All right, 160. So we didn't miss any at all. At 160, we are now supposed to go enchant shield, lesser stamina. I don't have it yet. It's going to require a lesser mystic essence and a soul dust. So we need to go learn it. This has been a pretty big leap forward in my enchanting, guys. This is a lot compared to what she was doing before. I'm pretty excited. And look at this Blood Elf, man. I don't know if this is something that they coded in for Blood Elves specifically, or if it's like this for all the characters now, but for having just random BOEs on and stuff that she's crafted, her coloring matches. I get excited about this stuff. I kind of geek out about my characters looking good in their armor. And especially on Horde side, I think female characters look a whole lot better under most circumstances. The one exception being undead. Undead dudes look pretty good also. Also orc warriors. Anything that's supposed to be in big bulky armor, orc males can look really good.
What can I help you with?
Okay, we're gonna train all this stuff.
Abu.
We're gonna find our enchant shield, lesser stamina. It looks like I can only do 2 of those. Do I have greater? Oh, I do. So I can do up to 12 when it comes to the soul dust. Okay, there we go. And enchant. And enchant. Okay. And this is supposed to take me to 165. Oh, shoot. I kind of... Okay. Fortunately, I can go back to Greater Mystic Essence if I need to. This is... We're gonna get 164 right here. And now 165. Well, it's still orange. What does he say do next? Enchant Bracer Spirit.
Speak. Farewell.
I can do 9 of those. Oh, because it's cheaper. It doesn't cost you a lesser Mystic Essence and a Soul Dust. Oh, that was pretty clever. What's this guy's name? Ben Eaton. B-E-N-E-A-T-O-N. It's all one word. Ben Eaton. He made this guide 4 years ago, and it is called Fastest Way to Level Enchanting in TBC Classic 1 to 375 Guide. Okay, so we're going to enchant Bracer with Spirit now. We're supposed to take that to skill level 180. I don't think I've got the mats for that, but we might be able to turn some graders into lessers. We're at level 170. You know, I just realized that we're at level 174. Things started taking off, which you're witnessing it. This is the first time that I've made a big jump in enchanting since the first 60 points were just simply disenchanting things gets you skill, right? And it occurred to me that the reason I'm making leaps forward like this is that I reached the level that she needed to get to. So I'm done leveling her right now. I can really just zero in on focusing her enchanting, and to do that I'm using Trump to go farm places that gets her the cloth she needs and fairly efficient speed, and then she can make cloth items and disenchant into the items that she needs to continue leveling. This would get me to 177. That was 177. 178 coming up. $179 coming up. Oh, look at this. It was perfect. Perfect. We have just enough mats to reach the goal of 180. Train some more. I don't know how much that cost me. Oh, I think about half the gold that I had, but Trump will be able to send her stuff if he needs to. From 180 to 200, it's Enchant Bracer Strength. It's going to require 1 Vision Dust. Enchant Bracer Strength, okay. So I am starting to get Vision Dust. I have some Soul Dust left. And I'm thinking to maybe use those up. So I'm going to enchant Chest. Yeah, do that one more time. I got 181. And then I have these greater astral essences. And I don't think those are being used anymore. We're into mystic essences. So I want to use these while they're still possibly available. I did get 182 out of that last enchant, so nothing wasted yet. $183. $184. $185. And 186. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so from 180, I'm at 186, to 200, I'm supposed to enchant Bracer Strength. So I've got 16 of those available. That's 190. This will be 195. All of these are still guaranteed because it's orange. 196. 197. 198. 199. And 200. Okay. So now
Blood and thunder.
we train. I couldn't get all of it. I'm tapped out on cash.
Victory.
So we're gonna log over to Trump. And we're gonna mail her, I think, 25 gold is what I think will do it. Okay, that leaves Trump at 208 gold, so he's fine. He can support himself and continue buying arrows and repair himself and stuff like that from dungeon running. We will go to a mailbox. Closest mailbox probably over here. Okay. We will train Artisan.
Farewell.
Ah, yeah, that's a big deal for her. It takes her to 310 in her case because she's a blood elf. Yeah, big deal. Okay, what's next? I'm playing Ben's video again. Learn Artisan Enchanting. Okay. And we need to make a runed true silver rod. So that's going to take our runed golden rod, 2 vision dust, which I have just enough for, 2 greater mystic essences. Do I have lessers? No, I'm almost completely out of mats. And a black pearl and a true silver rod. So what we'll do is we'll go purchase these, make the true silver rod, and then we're probably done for right now. But going from 126 to what is this? Is that mages get a portal maybe to the portal? From 126 to about 201 by the time we finish up here is just oh, you know, that's what, that's 75 points, isn't it? That's a big jump for what I've been doing. Okay. Black pearl. $66 silver. That's quite affordable. Okay, we got it. True silver rod. A gold 74. These rods are always expensive compared to the other materials needed. 1 greater mystic essence. $31 silver. If I can select it. Got it. And I got everything else, so we'll train after this. Well, let me hit play on his video. 201 to 205, we return back to enchant bracer strength. I already have that, right? Chest, weapon, boots, bracer spirit, bracer stamina, bracer strength. Okay, so can do a couple of those. We make one of these. Oh, I can't do them because I'm going to use the vision dust right here. Okay. Now I just want to go make sure that there's nothing else that I can train. We are at level 201. We need more vision dust. While I'm moving, I'm going to ask Google's AI. Let's see, in WoW Classic, do BOEs that drop in Scarlet Monastery disenchant? I think I butchered that word. No, I got it. Okay, disenchant into vision dust frequently? Question mark, enter. Vision dust is obtained by disenchanting uncommon green gear from item levels 36 to 45, primarily armor. In World of Warcraft Classic, Season of Discovery. Okay, I didn't really ask for Season of Discovery, but it should be the same. Scarlet Monastery is a key location for farming such gear, especially during the end game of Phase 2. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about Phase 2. What am I looking for here? I think we gotta keep going. Yeah. So, says item levels 36 to 45. Okay. Bring up tailoring. Azure Silk Vest is an item level 30, so it's a little bit low. So I need some better tailoring options, or we're gonna have to buy a lot of elemental earth, I think. Train me. Okay, nothing's available. So that'll probably be the next thing I do. Is I'm gonna make earthen vests and go buy elemental earth. It looks like auction. It auctions for 76 silver. Yeah, so they're not totally cheap. Maybe I should look up a tailoring guide. They might have an alternative. I'm at 178 tailoring. Okay. But it's going to require Trump to run a few more instances of Scarlet Monastery. So that's the plan. I kind of wanted to collect my data, my intel that I needed to make a judgment, and that's the conclusion I've reached. I need item levels 36 to 45, which are found in Scarlet Monastery. At the same time, I can farm that silk and a little bit of mage weave even, and send that to Halcyon, go buy some earthen vest, level past whatever. I should have checked my tailoring. Let's look at that and find out at what point in time does she get into things that are able to be made efficiently. Item level 36 to 45. What's an Azure Silk Belt? Item level 35. Okay, so my tailoring is a little bit behind. I need to catch up. Seems kind of a shame that I'm gonna ditch tailoring for herbalism eventually, because I am leveling it a lot. But this is the best way to do it, in my opinion, when it comes to trying to get enchanting leveled. Okay. Green silken shoulders, item level 31. Bolt of silk cloth and silken thread. Okay. What skill level? Requires level 31. Probably 180. Yeah, here it is, 180. Okay. Right here, item level 32. Item level 32. 33. Let's maybe skip down. Here's a 41. 38. So the black mage weave. 36. This is what I need to get into. And then I'll need to start farming mage weave for her. So that's learned at level 205. Okay, I have a roadmap.
Are the Horde!
Alright guys, again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw. And more importantly, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. I will see you in the next episode where this story continues.
This place. Ain't no such thing as civilized.